World Eyes brings you any educational knowledge or information around the globe, current or many years ago, that has historical or significant value. It is your eyes to the world. The Russian invasion of Ukraine, which is now close to third month and is more likely to stretch for quite some time, has caused tremendous casualties, dead and injured, Russian and Ukrainians, but more on the Ukrainian side. It has also created the largest refugees fleeing out of Ukraine and has displaced millions of Ukrainians in their very own country. By the way, please don't forget to subscribe and do write a comment below. Thank you. Heavy bombardments of Ukraine continues up to this date. Houses and buildings destroyed. People getting killed indiscriminately while the world watch with bated breath and are helpless to do anything. NATO's assistance has been limited to only providing arms and training to the Ukrainian fighters. Even the United Nations, expected to stop the war, has only been exposed again and again of what it can and cannot do, and not for what it has been created, that of stopping the carnage in Ukraine. On the other hand, President Vladimir Putin of Russia has gravely misjudged the Ukrainians, thinking they would easily bow down and let the Russian army take over the country. Despite heavy bombardments inflicted in some cities in Ukraine, the Ukrainians have stood unwavering in defending their country. Thus, the invasion has resulted to catastrophic destruction of Ukraine, with some cities almost flattened. Over 2,000 helpless civilians, including children and the elderlies, have been slaughtered to death. While on the Russian side, although the casualties may not be that accurate, it is estimated that several thousands of Russian soldiers have also been killed. Out of the more than 150,000 tanks and trucks that amass along the Ukrainian border, over 680 tanks and more than 2,000 armored vehicles have been crushed and burned. Even the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, a Navy missile cruiser, Moskva, had been sunk by the Ukrainian missiles. With such heavy losses, Putin sacked his chief of staff and replaced him with a veteran in Syria, reportedly had a history of disregarding human lives and the laws of war. He had also reportedly terminated the employment of some 1,000 personnel who had not been supportive of his invasion of Ukraine. At this point, it cannot be determined if Putin has ever realized that he has placed himself in a war he cannot win. Even if the war of aggression is stopped, Russia will not be able to sustain in the long run the occupation of Ukraine. Resistance would continue in any form, and that would drain the sanity out of Russia. And not only that, Putin would continue remaining isolated from the rest of the world, and that Russia may turn into a global pariah. Except China, India, maybe Germany, lesser countries would want to deal with them. In the end, it is Russia and its people that will bear the brunt of Putin's misjudgment and miscalculation in his desire to expand Russia beyond its border or to bring back its former republics to its fold. With all the losses his military sustained, his misjudgment of the Ukrainian patriotism, and his miscalculation that Ukraine will not fight back and that it would surrender easily, Putin's grip to power remains to be seen. Many feared that if the situation continues and if Putin's military adventurism in Ukraine continues to be projected in a bad light, he might resort to the unthinkable of what an irrational tyrant blinded by a punctured ego of turning to chemical warfare, or worse yet, using tactical nuclear weapons in selected Ukrainian areas, causing more untold widespread destructions and radioactive fallout as if to strike the final nail in the Ukrainian coffin, like what the US did in 1945 when it dropped the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, rendering the final closure to the World War II. No one knows what Putin has in mind, especially when one has been isolated or when one becomes too frustrated as to what is happening with his invasion, which until now is still going on. Let me break this video for a little while to share a portion of an interview I had with Direct Michael Asoy and Bruce Lee Strong on the possibility of a nuclear war.
Sir, naniniwala kayo sa ano? Sir Romeo, naniniwala kayo na magkakaroon talaga ng World War III?
Actually, yung possibility, kasi tignan mo yung possibility. Pero yung people involved in this war are trying as much as they can to prevent a nuclear war. Kasi alam nila ang devastating effect nito. Kahit si Putin alam niya kung gagamitin niya to, tapos na siya pagka kasi once na pindutin mo lang yung isang bagay, ang bilis nila mag-retaliate Kaya ang NATO at saka ang Western Alliance is very careful. Ayaw nila patulan si Putin when it comes to that. Pag nagsasalita siya ng gano'n, tinotone down nila. Kasi pagka sinabayan mo yan, baka mag-init. Oo. Kaya
parang last option yun
last option. Kaya very careful sila. Kasi it's really not good. Kaya I hope you can help me with my next vlog, yung lalabas sa May 5. I'm discussing about the nuclear war. Yeah.
Sige po.
Doon sa next vlog ko, it's about the nuclear war. What will happen? Ano ang consequences nito? Pinapakita ko yung when the nuclear was have been triggered, what will happen?
Putin might just decide to nuke Ukraine. That unwanted move would terribly be bad for the entire world watching in this clip. This is what is going to happen when nuclear weapon is triggered to solve world differences. If even a small nuclear war were to break out, tens of millions of people would die after the initial blast. Cities would be destroyed. Crops all over the planet would be gone. The radiation fallout may cause temporary or permanent sickness. The lives of future generations will suffer the consequences of the long-term effects of the nuclear fallout. Nuclear war will plunge the world into a deadly period of darkness, famine, toxic gases, and sub-zero cold. It would take about 3 to 10 years before the Earth could recover and there is not even a guarantee that the global changes would still make life survive. Such would be the grimmiest scenario that may render the final blow to civilization we all live in. God knows there is no one to be blamed except the utter folly of his own people who have created death, the final destroyer of the world. And that's for now for World Eyes. Stay tuned on my next vlog and don't forget to subscribe, please. Thank you.